Introduction. Yes, I've known Tom for about 30 years. That's about how long I've been here at Syracuse University. So I've been doing this a long time, and needless to say, I've learned a lot, and I have a lot of that to a lot to thank to my mentors who were here when I first got here. That's John Fitzgibbons and Joe Drenchko. So whenever I do something with AAPT, I mention those guys because they really are responsible for my career. So today we're going to do some demos, and I think the flow of this workshop today can go in many different directions. It's still in flux. So, but let's get through this talk really quick. So let's see, how many of you can I see on my screen here? What I want to see is a show of hands. Oh, many of you, half of you aren't on camera. Okay, now you're coming on. I want to see show of hands. How many of you don't do demos in your physics classes? Don't do demos. Any hands? One person. Okay, just Chris. Chris, why don't you do demos in your classes?
Because I don't want students just watching. I want them to do stuff.
Right. Okay, that's a very valid reason. That's a good reason, because you know it could be, yeah, I'm the sage on stage doing demos. Or maybe there's a way you can involve your students in the demos and make them more interactive. And I'm going to try and convince you of that today. So my abstract said, you know, there's a couple of different kinds of faculty members. Faculty members who are very eager to do demos and faculty members who are not eager to do demos. And then we can break those down into different categories. Some are eager at doing demos and they're actually quite good at it. Some are eager at doing demos and they're just bad at doing demos. And then others don't want to do it for different reasons. And we'll talk a little bit about each of those and what you can do to correct those. And I hope by the end of today, you're all going to be, wow, look at all the resources I have to go out and find out how to do demos and what I need to do demos. And now I have some methods to make demos more interactive in class. So that's what we're going to do. So you can see the outline. Whenever you're doing demos, there are outreach possibilities. And if you're in a public institution, you might have some sort of mandate to do outreach. I'm a private university. We don't have a mandate to do outreach, but people with NSF grants kind of have a mandate. So we're doing more and more outreach, and I've been doing outreach just because I think it's a wise thing to do. I like to show this slide, and I'm going to let you read it. I don't need to read it. Y'all can see that clearly, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so Einstein said, do demos because that's cool stuff to look at. It's way better than filling up your chalkboard or whiteboards these days with equations. And I also like to show this slide. So the photo on the right was taken out of Harry Miner's books. So if you have those books on your bookshelf, there are 2-volume set put out by AAPT back in the 60s. They're treasured. Don't throw them out. You'll find, you know, 1,000 pages worth of how to do or how to build physics demos. And what you're seeing in that photo on the right is Lawrence Bragg in 1961 at the Royal Institute doing a demo show. So this theater is filled up with people who are coming out to see science. At one point, the world actually liked science and liked to see science. And I will stay out of the politics of what's going on in the country today, but yeah, at one point science was very fun and people were attracted to it. But this all started way back in 1825, and this is I don't know if it's a photo painting, whatever it is. Must be an old cheap, grainy photo of Faraday doing the Christmas lecture at the Royal Institute. So, and that tradition continues on today. The photo on the right is the more recent version. And if you know Dave Maiulo at Rutgers puts on their Christmas lecture as well, reminiscent of what's going on at the Royal Institute and they stream that live on YouTube. So I want to talk about a little visit I took. So I went to the AAPT Mexican section meeting. I don't remember when this was, back in, I don't know, maybe the early 20-teens, something like that. And I packed up my suitcase with a bin that said stuff to teach physics, and I taped it shut, put it in my suitcase, and most of it made it through Mexican customs. Most of it did. One of the demos I did when I was at Monterey Tech was the Monkey and Hunter demo. So I had it set up and I asked the students, what's going to happen? You can see what's going on in the demo. I have a gun right here. There's some sort of cannon that will shoot a ball at this monkey that's hanging in a tree. At the moment the ball leaves the gun, the monkey says, I'm going to outsmart that guy and I'm going to drop from the tree. And so the question that I asked the students, does the ball hit the monkey or does the ball go above the monkey? And what do you think the students said? Somebody chime in. What the students say?
Above the monkey.
Yeah, they all said, thank you, Tom. They all said above the monkey. And look, y'all are muted. If you want to unmute so you can interrupt with a question, I'm good with that. Or to answer my questions, I'm good with that as well. The students unanimously said, yeah, it's going to go above the monkey. You should have seen the reaction of the faculty members in the audience. They were like, oh, I can't believe our students said that. Well, the culture in Mexico is they don't do demos. So their students never saw the demo. Perhaps they talked about this and they thought the students understood the physics of it and understood the equations of it. But what happens in real life means nothing when you just have equations. Students don't make that connection. So then I did the demo, and then the students were like, oh yeah, and they start making connections. So yeah, we're doing physics, we're doing equations, but there's no connection to the real world until you see something happen with those equations. There was a paper done by Mazur up in Harvard. They did a paper on the efficacy of doing demos in classes, and they did this in 3 different versions. So let me explain what you're seeing in here. Okay, so they had a control group where the group did not see any demos. They had another group where the group saw the demos. Then there was another group where they were asked to predict what would happen in the demo, and another group that actually had to discuss what they saw after they did it. Okay, so here's what's going on. Oh no, I take that back. It was a group where they didn't see the demos and a group where they did the demos and they were asked to observe and predict. And so, yeah, yes, exactly. That's exactly what was going on. So let's look at what's going on in this graph right here. So in this group that observed the demos, only observed, they had no stake in the game. They saw the demo, that was it. Compared to the control group, there's not much improvement in either predicting the outcome of the demo or explaining the physics of that demo. Okay, so the group that just sat and passively watched the demo, compared to the control group where they didn't see the demo, they didn't really do much better than the control group who never saw the demo. Then we have these 2 other columns over here. Look what's going on with the group that was asked to be engaged in the demo. They had some stake in the game here. Their ability to predict the outcome and explain it was much improved compared to the control group of no demo. And then the ones who were asked to discuss the demo after, showed even more gains compared to these other two groups when compared to the the group that did not even see the demo. So what's going on? If you only see the demo, yeah, Chris, you're right. If you're only going to see the demo, you may as well not even do it, right? It keeps them entertained for a while, but there's nothing to be gained. But when you're asking students to do things, have a stake in the game, like predict the demo, and then after discuss the demo, that's where you see the gains from doing the demo. And what I claim, I don't have research to back this up, is that these two groups, these predict and discuss groups, as a result of having done that, they're much more engaged in the class at that time compared to the group that only observed the demo. And I bet the predict and discuss group actually does much better in physics than the group who only observed or the group that didn't even see the demos. This is what I think, and I think that would be a great area for research to see if these two groups actually showed more gains than the other two groups. Okay. So these are some, at the end, there are student reviews. At the end of a class, there are the course, there are student reviews. And here's what students say. I like the demonstrations. Oh, the clicker doesn't enhance the lectures. Demos are awesome. Demos are good to convey the concepts. They make class fun. And the benchmark figure right here, lecture demonstrations were excellent. That got a 4.4 out of 5. Okay, so that's one group of student reviews. But remember I said there are two kinds of faculty members doing demos. Here's the survey from another faculty member's class, the exact same class, just taught by a different faculty member. Like the demonstrations, but the teacher didn't convey the ideas very well. Demonstrations at times were engaging, at times. I like the demonstrations, but they need to be more relevant. Here, the instructor is not doing a good job of explaining why a demo is relevant to what they're doing in class. And then the benchmark is this instructor, same demos, right? Same class, a 2.2 out of 5, 2.3 out of 5 compared to the last class. So how you do the demos in class is as important as the demo itself. Perhaps it's even more important. And that brings me to this next slide. When you're doing the demo, you need to think theater. You're not a physics professor. You are an actor. So the things you need to think about when you're doing the demo, is the apparatus well lit? Can the students see it? I'm standing in a 300 seat lecture hall right now. Oh, and hang on, camera controls. So, oh, that's a bad, let's do. Okay, that's better. Now you can see me. That better? Okay, back to the slide. Now, how do I get the slide back? Okay, you can all still see my slides, right? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, the sight lines. I kid you not, I have had faculty members come up to do a demo and they're like, okay, I have this ball and I'm going to let the ball go down the ramp, and do you all understand what you just saw? I've seen that. They don't think about what's going on. You have to think about the sight lines. Yeah, so get your ass out of the way when you're doing a demo. Stand behind the demo. The next thing, is the stuff big enough to be seen? When I first came here 30 years ago, they did the penny and the feather. It was in a tube about 1.5 inches in diameter. And when I say penny and feather, it was actually a penny and a feather about the same size as that penny. And then the faculty member flips it over. And what do you think the people in the middle of the auditorium saw? Absolutely nothing, right? Is the demo big enough? Here, no. If it's in a 20-person classroom, that's just fine, probably. So I rebuilt that one. That was the first demo I built when I got here 30 years ago. And I drop a billiard ball and a feather that's about that big. and it's about 5 feet tall. So, you know, and it's in a vacuum can that's about 8 inches in diameter. So, yeah, so that's that. Audio. Faculty members that come in and they talk like this, and that's their lecture. And then when they do a demo, it's just like this. Did you, any of you understand a word I just said? No? Oh, yeah. Neither can the students. You fill this up. You fill this room up with 300 students, and I don't care. There is a murmur across the auditorium. And if you don't speak up, if you don't project, they don't hear you. When you're explaining the apparatus, they don't hear it. So make sure you're loud. And then the last thing, if you're not excited about the thing that you're going to show them, do you think they're going to be excited? Make sense? So even if you're not excited, at least pretend to be excited. Okay? Watch this, you guys. Here's a ball hanging from a string. Woo! It's a pendulum. You know, who else does that? Quick. Of quick TikTok fame. Who does that? Quick. Come on. Name a name. You know this person.
Lewin?
No, Tatiana from U Texas. Tatiana from U Texas. She speaks with a Russian accent, and she's crazy. If you meet her in real life, she's like, "Hey, how you doing, Sam? It's good to see you." But when she's doing physics demos in her very, very, very thickest Russian accent, she is so excited about that orange ball pendulum. It is swinging back and forth. That pendulum, it is swinging back and forth, and it will go forever. And she's got like 7 billion followers on TikTok and YouTube. So she's making it rich, not by teaching physics, but by doing YouTube physics or TikTok physics. But what's the attraction? She's doing this last thing, act. Don't be afraid to be excited. So she has a very good way of engaging her audience, whether it's students or whether it's people there at her outreach event. So, Chris, this is for you. Maybe you've seen this before. Let's engage students in demos. And so at the very first day of class, every student, Joe's got one. You get an ABCD card. Every student gets one. Please bring it back every class. We will use it every class. The first thing you do is fold it into quarters. What Joe is going to do is share his PDF file for you all in the chat right now, so you can all have these ABCD cards. So now we have these ABCD cards. Okay, here's how to do it. You're going to describe the demo, or you're going to put a clicker question up. You're going to let them read it. You're going to give them some time to think about it. After you've given them some time, you're going to say, does anyone need more time? And you might see some hands go up. I'm still thinking, oh, okay. Well, then you wait a few more seconds. Does anyone need more time? Okay. Then you ask the students not to show their cards yet, not to show their answers. And then the last part is, okay, 3, 2, 1, vote. And they hold the card up like this. They're not doing this, right? Here, it's blocked from other students that see it. My answer is not going, because I'm the smartest kid in class, is not going to influence the kid who is really, really lost. I want to see who's really lost. Okay, so do this. What's cool about the colors is with a quick scan, you can see if they've got it. If the answer is not blue and you're seeing blues everywhere, we need to spend some time and discuss this. So that's one thing to do. Another thing to do, maybe there are 2 answers that are good possibilities. So maybe it's green, maybe it's blue. Those are good possibilities. And if you look out into the crowd and you see a mix of 50-50 or, 30-60, 30-70, something like that, you see a reasonable mix, ask the students to find someone who disagrees with you and convince them you are right. Okay, convince them you are right. Well, D is right because blank, 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 blank. No, B is right because blank, 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 blank. You're not thinking about whatever. And, oh, yeah, maybe you're right. Or, oh, that makes sense. I wasn't thinking about that. Then, who needs more time? Oh, you still need more time. And you can hear the chatter in the students. When it starts to die down, you know they're done discussing the demo. Who needs more time? Yeah, okay, good. 3, 2, 1, vote. Oh, it's uniform green, right? Pretty uniform green. And you'll see a smattering of other answers in there, right? And it's never, ever, ever uniform the correct answer. And you say, what's the answer? And they all go, B. Excellent, thank you very much. The students who don't get it right, now the learning is on them. If they want to know why their answer D was wrong, they need to come find you in your office hours. I'm not going to spend class time discussing why the answer was B for 3 students out of 100. Make sense? You want to learn? Come to my office. You don't say it like that, but look, you're in college. You're you're an adult now. So let's practice. And I should tell you that this is the ramp I'm talking about, and this is the ball I'm talking about.
Sam, I'm not seeing what you're showing.
Aha, let me change my camera then. And I think I preset this correct. Okay, and I'm going to change the view so you can actually see it. So this is the ramp I'm talking about. This is the ball. So there's a long side and a short side. And they both come up to the same height. See if I can adjust the lighting on this also, so it's not so. How's that? Is that a better view? Is there less glare now? Eh? Okay.
Is there some way to zoom in a bit, Sam?
Yeah. See, it looks good on my screen, so that's why. Can you see that blue base with the white ball?
It looks better now.
So on my screen, it's huge. So I'm not sure what you're seeing on Zoom, but this is the thing. You see this thing, right?
Yes, it looks good now.
Okay. Okay, does anyone need more time? I'm not seeing any hands go up. So just for fun, since you don't have cards, only Joe has cards. A, give me a finger 1 if you're A, give me 2 fingers for B. You get the idea. E is 5. And if you have a card, E is just show me white. Show me the backside of the card. So that's E. Okay. 3, 2, 1, vote. And I'm seeing a mix of hands here. Okay. So let's do the demo and see what the result is. So what we're going to release the ball from the longer side of the ramp. I'm going to take the ball, it's at the very top, and I'm just going to let it go. And notice I didn't run over to the other side and grab the ball. So because I knew that it wasn't going to fall off the other side of the ramp. Okay, so what's the answer, everybody? Oh, the answer was it will not reach the ball. Let's see. Oh, sorry. The answer was C. It reached the top, right? It about reached the top. And that's what you want them to see, okay? So it reached the top. The answer was C. Now, let's do the demo a little differently.
Sam, I apologize. You may have said this earlier. Are the two endpoints the same height?
Yeah, they're the same height.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone need more time?
I don't know, Sam, what are you gonna do?
We're going to do the demo again. It's a new question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, y'all ready? 3, 2, 1, vote. Okay, so there is a smattering of hands. Okay, so I'm going to read these because I forgot how I ordered these in here. Roll off the other side for some reason I can't explain. Not reach the top for some reason I can't explain. Thank you, no one said A, so that's good. Not reach the top for some reason I can explain. Only reach the top for some reason I can explain. No one said D and no one said E, so that's good. Okay, and you know, for this, I just made these questions up yesterday or the day before. I didn't have a good E, but I wanted to put an E in there. So what I have in here for a choice for E is not something I would ever use. Okay, so who wants to explain their answer? Someone said choice C. I know someone said choice C, so someone who said C, please explain your answer.
I'll attempt. If you can hear me,
Yep, we can hear you.
it's just simply the conservation of energy. I think.
Right? So yeah, I think that I like that last part. I think that. Anyone else? Somebody's held 2 fingers up. Who said B? Ralph, explain why you said B.
I've changed my answer from C to B. I think that with rolling down the steeper side, the ball will be more likely to skid, so it'll lose some mechanical energy into thermal energy, as we call it. So that'll show up straight away on the other side.
You're close. You're on the right track. Let's do the demo and see what we can see. And I'm actually going to move this a little better so you can see this. So we're going. Is that better now? Can you see?
Yes.
Except, let me zoom out a little bit.
Just a little.
You can't see no, you can see it. That's good. You're just not going to see me release it. Okay, but I promise I'm not playing any tricks with the release. I'm doing it exactly the same as I did the first time. Okay, did it get close to the top? Let me rephrase that.
Yes.
Did it reach the top? Or was it obviously far from the top?
It got close, but it didn't reach the top.
But the first time, how did it go? It was pretty darn close to the top the first time, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll repeat the first time again now that we have a better view, and I'll do it this way. Is the top in view now? On the steep side?
No. No.
Now?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. So I'm releasing it exactly the same, I promise. And it appears to be much closer to the top in that case than the case that's on my current question, right? Right?
yes.
So really what's going on is each way the ball loses some energy because of friction. And how much energy did it lose? I don't know. It lost some delta H's worth of energy, right? MGH. Make sense? Which side is a longer linear distance on this rail to achieve some delta H in height? So if I want to lose an inch over here, well, the ball makes it to here. And that's about an inch, right? So there's my change in height of an inch. I get to here. That's pretty darn close. But if I come to this side, how far, what's an inch down? Well, if I come to an inch down, that's here on the track. So the ball only makes it to here. It seems like it's much farther from the end, but it's really just an inch dropped down in height. Does that make sense? Follow me on that? Okay, so when you do this demo, by the way, how many of you have this demo in your stockroom? Just a couple have that in their stockroom. When you do that demo, pay attention to which side you drop it from, because the students might get a very wrong idea based on the side that you did it from. So Chris, we just took a very boring demonstration and got it more engaging with the students, right? We asked them to make a prediction. We ask them to explain their observation. And then I asked you to explain the reasons you chose A, B, C, D, or E, right? That's now engaging the students. Okay, so another one of the topics of this was, where can I get more ideas for demonstrations? And as Tom alluded to, there's an affiliate organization in AAPT. It's called the Physics Instructional Resource Association, PIRA. And we're very active at the national meetings. So when you come to the national meetings, and if you've never been, I strongly encourage you to get to a national meeting. There's nothing that will get you more excited about going back to your classroom than going to an AAPT meeting. But PIRA is all over the place. And I strongly encourage you to go to any PIRA thing that you can get to. And that includes workshops and make and takes and demo shows and the resource room. Tom can explain the resource room another time, but yeah, anyways. And what you see on the screen are some things that PIRA has offered at past meetings. I haven't looked. I should have looked to see what's coming up at the winter meeting in Vegas. I didn't do that. What you see on the right is a make and take. It's a ring flinger, Thompson Elihu coil, whatever you want to call it. I think, Tom, you took this workshop, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. So Tom came in and built this thing and got to somehow get it on the airplane and home. This thing probably weighs about 30 pounds. It's steel and copper wire, and what could go wrong on an airplane with that thing? Anyways, and that launches a ring that's about 2 inches in diameter, and it hits my ceiling in here. My ceiling is 20 feet tall. So from the lecture table, the ring will hit the ceiling, and it was free. It was free because I wrote a barter grant. And guess who never submitted the receipts for that barter grant? I did. So it was free for AAPT as well, but everybody got to come and build one and take it home. Here's how to find PIRA. So jot this website down, pira.wildapricot.org. That's where to find us. And we run an email listserv. It's a Google group. And that's the Google group right there. It's TAP-L. It stands for Teaching Apparatus. So it really did start off as an old-fashioned email listserv. And now it's a Google group. Anybody can join this group. And you don't have to participate if you don't want to. You can just lurk and listen and learn. Or you might want to ask a question. Hey, I want to do blankety blank in my classroom. How do I do that? Where do I get the pieces? You send in your request to there, and you'll have 3 or 4 responses pretty darn fast. So it's a great learning community, and we learn from each other in that community. It's a really fun group. Okay, now you see a bunch of demos out here. I think I can't even see what you see now. Yeah, I can see what you see. There's a bunch of demos. How do I find out more about those demos besides TAPL? Where can I learn about them? Well, at some point, well, back in the 90s, it started with Phil Johnson at the University of Minnesota. He sat down, he said, you know, I can go to the library and find any one of a million books, and it has a unique Dewey Decimal System. We should be able to do that for physics demos. And he sat down and started creating a demonstration classification scheme. And what's bizarre now is nothing else in the world uses a scheme like that. So if you know the code for the demo you want, if you just type that in Google, that demo will come up, because there's nothing else that matches with the way we have things classified. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. Right now we have a bibliography with it's close to 20,000 entries right now. So 20,000 entries on physics demonstrations. Okay, doesn't mean there are 20,000 physics demonstrations. It means that we have 129 resources out there that describe the monkey and the hunter demonstration. And you can go out and find it. Oh, here's a low cost one. Here's an expensive one. Here's this, here's that. And you can go through the literature and find that. But we've cataloged all that for you, and it's to make these things easy to find. So you can see what the specific areas are, and you see there's a number next to them, and that'll be more obvious what that means in the next couple of slides. So our entries are 15,000 plus, like I said, bordering on 20,000. And the resources that we've cataloged, that we've perused, are Sutton. There's a classic demonstration book, 1938, it was published. Pyra now owns it. Pyra went out and bought the rights from Sutton's family. So we own it, and we make that available for our members. It's free to our members. Fryer and Anderson. Put your hand up quick if you know Fryer and Anderson. Yeah, so a bunch of you know Fryer and Anderson. Miners, I talked about that. The American Journal of Physics, the physics teacher. So those are the sorts of resources that we've cataloged and put easy to find references for demos. Who did it? Well, a bunch of people. There's a list of people right there. So this thing right now, if you go to pyra.wildapricot.org and then hit the members button, if you're not a member, I don't think it lets you in, but I'm a member, so I got let in. And I went to this thing called the Pyra Demonstration Bibliography. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, you see there's a title page. That's what we're on right now. The things that I want to talk about are of interest are, well, the references, the bib format, bibliography format, the Pyra 200. I'll talk about that in a second. And then here are all the different fields of physics where you might find demos, right? And then there's more scrolled off to the right, and I didn't worry about that, but we'll talk about that in a second. So if you go and look at one of those bib entries, and here's a page from the bib, what do you see? Let's look at line number 194. TPT 616489. Quick, what reference do you think TPT is? Okay, I don't need an answer for that. Okay, you're going to see the title of the demo, Smartphone Speed of a Model Train. Oh, that makes some kind of sense, right? I think I can figure out what that is. But then this next column, this fourth column over here, 1C 10.05. What does that 1C 10.05 mean? We'll unpack that in a few moments. And then to the right, there's a brief, very brief description of what the demo is. An ultrasonic sensor unit connected to a smartphone. Oh, the motion of an Arduino controlled model train is measured. Oh, that sounds really cool. Maybe I'm gonna build a Arduino controlled model train. I'm looking for a project to do. Or I don't want to get that involved in building a demo. I want to measure the speed of something, but I don't want an Arduino. I'm gonna skip that article. Okay, so this 1C 10.05, that's the PIRA demonstration classification scheme number. And then the example I gave up in bold is a very different demo. F and A, that's Fryer and Anderson. MB16, that's another reference. So here's some references to this demo, Monkey and the Hunter. And what's its PIRA number? It's 1D60.30. So that's the PIRA reference number for Monkey and the Hunter. So while you're sitting at the computer, Google 1D60.30 and see what comes up. Tell me if something other than a Monkey and Hunter demo, excuse me, comes up. What's the brief description? Compressed air gun shoots at a tin can. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So here are the references. We've got Sutton, we have Fryer and Anderson, Hilton, Miners, Dick and Ray. So those are all the different demonstrations, and these are all listed at the front of the bibliography, what they all mean. So here's the unpacking of what's in the DCS number. So the one tells you the area of physics. I had that one slide. One was mechanics, two was, right, I forgot what two was. What was two? Do you remember? Who knows? There's a quiz on this later. Was two thermo? I remember.
Fluid mechanics, I think.
No, two is not mechanics. One, who cares? Doesn't matter. But one is mechanics. I don't know. 4 might be E&M. 5 might be waves. 6 might be modern physics. I don't know. I forget. So the 1 tells me the area. It's a mechanics demo. D tells me the topic. So D is motion in 2 dimensions. Oh, I'm not interested in motion in 2 dimensions. I want motion in 1 dimension. I'm just starting my class. Oh, so I need demos that have a 1C. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. What's the concept? Projectile motion, that's D. That's the concept 60. And then 10. What's the demonstration for the dot 10? That's the howitzer and tunnel demo. You know what that is, right? A car goes down a rail and it shoots a ball vertically in the air. Does the ball land in the car, in front of the car, behind the car? Not enough information, right? Okay, so that's that. Motion in 2 dimensions, as opposed to a different number. What do we see on the last screen? 1D60.30. That's a totally different 2-dimensional motion demo, Monkey and Hunter. So 1D60.10, that's the howitzer and tunnel demo. If you go to the bib, you'll find a lot of howitzer and tunnel demos. And here's the answer to my question. 2 is fluid mechanics. Oh, did somebody say fluid mechanics? Okay, I only heard mechanics. So I knew, yeah, okay. So there's all the different things, and you see how the categories are broken down. So if you see 5A, you know it's an electrostatics demo. So if you're looking for electrostatics demos, you're going to go to the bib, and you're going to look through 5A and scroll through and see things that are of interest to you, that you think are relevant to what you're doing. Okay. PIRA activities. We do a lecture demonstration workshop. In the olden days, we used to do 2 full days. We would buzz through 200 demonstrations over the weekend. We do make and takes. I talked about all this. The most important thing we do, I think, is we disseminate materials to the broader AAPT community. I think that's our largest value to teaching physics. We disseminate stuff. Like I say, Sutton is free. And here are just some photos. Let's see if Tom is in there. And I think Jay did that, or Tony did the ring flinger workshop too. I remember Tony doing that. Right, Tony?
Indeed, I did it. I even put that in the chat.
Oh, did you? Okay. Okay, so TAPL, I talked about this already. So you can find that on the PIRA website and subscribe to that. Here are some other demo websites. University of Maryland used to be the premier lecture demonstration website. It's now, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It saddens me. Now I think the premier one is Dale's page out here at the University of Iowa. Bill Beatty has oddball kind of stuff. If you want to go and learn some cool things, go see Bill Beatty's site. And then there's the Wonders of Physics page. That's Sprott out of Wisconsin. And then of course PSRC and Compadre, you'll find stuff there. And of course the Pyro website. We have videos, we have diagrams, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I got this email yesterday from Freak Polls. And he said, I see you're doing a workshop. Will you do me a favor and advertise my site? And I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. So this guy, I met him at the AAPT meeting. I can't remember if it was the last one or the one before, but he's starting a project over in the Netherlands where he is putting online demonstrations, how to build them, videos, diagrams, et cetera, et cetera. So these are two sites run by Freak. I don't even know how, Freck, I don't know how to say that. If any of you know Dutch, feel free to correct me. But anyways, that's a good site. I'm glad he emailed me to remind me of that. So he's an up and coming person in the demonstration community. So the thing that I need you all to remember when you're thinking about demos and what to do and what to say and what to gloss over and what you can't gloss over, think of the students you are teaching now. Your students have no clue how to pull out a Rand McNally map and get from point A to point B. They've never seen rabbit ear antennas. They've never put aluminum foil on rabbit ear antennas. They've never fixed their car, right? And I'm speaking in broad brushstrokes, of course. They have no idea what an analog bathroom scale is, right? They step on a scale now, and it's a digital reading, right? There's no analog thing. Do students cook and sew? No, they're doing what, Instacart, and they don't sew. If something rips, they throw it out, right? They don't know what a VCR is. The other night, I sat down with my wife and we went through her old Super 8 movies. You know how long it took me how to remember how to thread the film strip into that projector? But do you think students today can do that? No. So keep in mind, your students are not you. Their experiences are very different. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm done talking. All I want you to think about is how you're going to take this information and get it to your students, right? Put that into your practice, into your art. And here's a list of bullet items that I don't need to read. You can go through these. And I can, if you want these slides, I'm happy to send them out afterwards. If you want to pull the links off it or whatever. So that's no big deal. Which now brings me to my last slide. I asked Tom to send an email out and let me know if there are any specific interests, blah, blah, blah. One came back was, oh, I'd really like to delve into the math of some of these demos. And I said, that's a great idea, but I think that's a different workshop. Okay, and I'm happy to do something like that in the future, but it needs to be more planned out than go into the math of some demos. I think you send me a demo and so let's do the math of this, and we would prepare a class on, the math that would go into a particular demo. So I'm not going to do that for today. I did get another one. And this is just copied from the email. I'm interested in spectra, specifically absorption spectra. Here's what I do. I put didymium glasses in front of an incandescent lamp and students view the spectrum with a grating. Are there other ways to do absorption? I'm looking for other ways that I can use with my handheld diffraction grating and from an electronic spectrometer, that's the RSpec thing, connected to a computer. What's difficult about this is the filament in the lamp is not completely horizontal, and that shows up in the image produced by the spectrometer, and that makes it difficult to point out the absorption lines in the spectrum. Also, it's not easy to keep the glasses in place in front of the lamp when you're using this spectrometer. That's a great question. I don't remember who wrote it, but that's a great question. And spectra, if you're doing spectra, if you're doing astronomy, or if you're doing spectra in a higher level physics class, that's a great way to engage the students. What's cooler than seeing stuff with your own eyes? It's light, it's pretty. And when you see it with your own eyes, it makes things much more concrete. So let me come back to my camera controls, and let's see what camera is going to, let's try the front camera. Let's zoom out.
So Sam, is it
Yeah.
possible to put this camera that you're now panning on the full screen and take away the words? So we
And
can
take
have
away
a
the
blown up
words?
image.
Yes, because I am going to turn off, I think, the right projector. I'm going to mute that. Perfect. Okay, so you now see a blank screen, right?
No. We still see your PowerPoint slide.
You're still sharing your screen.
Let me stop the share then.
Everybody can just change their settings in their when they click view, and you can
Oh,
shrink his slides screen, and oh, I guess you could do that too.
Yeah, no, we're good. I can, so you should be able to, you should see my screen pretty big now, right? There's a blank projector screen right there.
Yes.
Y'all see? Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna turn off the lights. I'm gonna try not to step on my dog. Lights are down. Okay, lights are off. So what the heck was that guy talking about? Spectra, da 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 da. Okay. Let me put a screen down too. So what I have is an overhead projector. Don't throw these out. If you have them, save them. They are awesome light sources. The next thing I want to show you is, I'll come over in front of the screen. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, all this is a piece of aluminum with a slit cut in it. That's all this is. And I can put this piece of aluminum on my slide projector, or on my overhead projector, and I can focus. Oh, see, that's in bad focus right there, and that's in bad focus right there. But if I focus that, I can focus a slit of light right there. Perfect. I have a beautiful light source right now. It's a slit of light. Whenever we do optics, we always want parallel slits of light. And so one thing I can do is take out my prism that was dropped by a physics faculty member, not me, and kind of shattered. But that's okay. With the good part of it that's not shattered, I can take my prism, put it in that light beam. So if you look at the slit of light, you can see where the shadow of the prism is. And if you look over to the left of the screen, you should see a continuous spectrum. Do you see that?
No, I think you have to pan down some.
Pan the camera up.
Well, you want the image to go up.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I see what's going on here. Camera controls, I need to pan the camera down, there we go.
Yeah.
And I'll pan it down a little more so you can see what I'm doing as well. Okay, now I think you have a good view of the screen. So here's my prism. It's, I don't know, what is it, 2-inch or so glass prism. And I put the prism in the slit. Can you see my hand in front of the overhead projector right here?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm putting my prism right here and adjusting the angle of it and over to the very left of the screen, and I can move it more toward the center just by changing the angle, you know, where the overhead projector is shining. And over to the left of the screen, I get a beautiful continuous spectrum made by a prism. Okay, so there's a continuous spectrum of this white light source as made by that.
Okay, Sam, it may be me, but I'm not seeing that.
Oh, you didn't see? Hang on 1 second, we'll do it again. Yeah, so if you can't see something that I'm doing, yell. Okay. So I'm putting to my right, the source is way over to my right. So the source or the slit is focused right here. So that's a focused image of the slit in this aluminum. Now I'm taking my prism and I'm going to insert that into the slit. And over on the left side of the screen, you should see a continuous spectrum with the blue to the left and the red to the right. Do you see that now?
I think it's overexposed.
It's overexposed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't see the rainbow colors, but I can see that there's light there.
See, I'm trying to do this and see what you're seeing, so I'm not really, I'm looking over my head. Oh yeah, you're right. So that thing that you're seeing move all around right now, on my view, that's a continuous spectrum, and this camera in here is not picking it up, and I don't have a good solution for that right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I do apologize for that. But from my view, I see a beautiful continuous spectrum. And what I'm seeing, what I want to point out is the red has been bent the least and the blue light has been bent the most. Okay, that's what I'm seeing right now. Red is bent the least, blue is bent the most. Now, let's get back to that question. Didymium glass. Now I have to find, where did I put my didymium glass? Because I did bring it down. Do. I bet I set it over here because this is where I would need it, but no. Hang on 1 second. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I have two pieces. Let's see what you're seeing there. If I step over here, you can see me. I have two pieces of glass in my hand. Well, one's glass. That's this broken one. Be careful who you lend things to, especially fragile things. This is didymium glass. This is plastic. You can loan this to anyone. It won't come back like this. This used to be square. So glass blowers use didymium glass eyeglasses. And the reason is when they heat glass up, it glows fiercely yellow. That yellow is coming from the sodium in the glass. And it's so bright that it's blinding. So they wear didymium glass. And can you see the color change? That doesn't show up great, does it, on this camera? So what I'm doing, that works. So no, it doesn't work great. But you can see the slight color change at the top of that slit, right? Glass off, glass on. Now it's like going to the eye doctor. Is this better? This better? 1 or 2? Yeah, great. So that's didymium glass. Here's the plastic. Let me show you what the plastic is. So there's the plastic right there. So you can see it's very different, but kind of similar. You can't tell, but it is kind of similar in color to the didymium glass, but it's not the same. So why am I bringing this up? This fiercely cuts out that yellow sodium line. And now where did I put my prism? And you're not going to be able to see it with the prism. But I do have a diffraction grating. And we'll do the grading in a little bit. And yeah, with the prism, it's not, I'm just gonna say it's not a great demo. So what's one thing we're learning today? Oh, you should always practice demos before you do them. What do you see on the screen? Yeah, you don't see a heck of a lot of much of anything up there, because it just oversaturates the camera. Okay. So let's consider that a failed demo right now. But what you would see is that yellow is completely gone. That's what you should have seen if this was reproduced in a good manner. You should have seen that the yellow was completely absorbed by that didymium glass, but you could still see the rest of what you were doing clearly. Which is kind of important if you're a glass blower working with flames and hot stuff. You want to see what you're doing clearly. But what it did was absorbed all the yellow. So I still had a continuous spectrum, but the yellow light was removed. I remember being a freshman and talking about absorption spectrum or spectra, and I really didn't understand what was meant by that. And even seeing a picture didn't make it come home. And it wasn't until I saw an absorption spectrum where I said, oh, now I get it. Okay, now I get it. All right. So seeing is a powerful way to do it. Now I want to go back to sharing this PowerPoint again, because that's going to get to my next slide here. Because it said, what other way to do it is there? Here's another way I do it. And I didn't set it up, but I did want to show a cartoon of that. A slide projector. We used to use them in classes all the time, slide projectors. If you have them, don't throw them out. They're great light sources for doing optics demos. So in my slide projector, I cut a slit in a piece of metal the same size, or the piece of metal is the same size as a slide, and I cut a narrow slit in that piece of brass, and I put that in the slide projector where a slide would go, and I can do what I did on the overhead. I can focus a slit of light, get a nice parallel beam of light. So that's what's going on here. I have a slide projector, and all it's doing is broadcasting a parallel beam of white light. These triangles are Meeker burners. And what's burning above the Meeker burners is rock salt. And so how did I do that? I just used some lab hardware to create a little stand. And there's a screen, a very coarse, heavy wire screen. Where did I buy that? You can buy it anywhere. McMaster-Carr is my favorite place. But that rock salt is sprinkled on the screen, and that screen is supported with lab hardware over the Meeker burners, over these 3 Bunsen burners. And so what I see is not natural gas flame, which is, depending on how you have it mixed, is difficult to see, but it's a very bright orange flame because of all that burning sodium. And the white light is going through that sodium. But what the sodium does is removes that yellow light from the white light, from this white light. So what comes out at the end of this is white light minus that yellow sodium light. So, and that's a 592 line, right? 592, 594. Okay, so that's great. I took out only that yellow. If I just put up a piece of white paper and let that shine on the piece of paper, that piece of paper would still look white. It wouldn't look any different. So how do I prove that it took out the yellow light? I have right here one of those Project Star spectrometers. See, I brought one down. Y'all know what those are, right? Project Star spectrometer? One of these things. And you
One of
hold it
the
up.
greatest pieces
Yeah.
of apparatus ever invented.
Right? And it's, they used to be much better. I don't know who took them over now. I don't like the newer versions of these. If you have the old black ones, those are gold. Do not throw them out. They're worth fixing. Okay, so I have this Project Star spectrometer here. The white light enters the spectrometer, comes down here, and if you look in the eyepiece of this thing, you will see the continuous spectrum and a black line at 590 on the scale inside the spectrometer. Now, it takes a little care to get it lined up correctly, but once it's lined up correctly, you will see that line. Well, that's great. You have a class of 30 students and you can see it. I have a class of 300 and I can see it. But now I have to get it to my students. So what I do is I take a video camera. That's this thing right here. And I do have a very good video camera. And that plugs into my projector system. And they can see the scale. And they can see that there is a black line at 590 nanometers. The next thing to do to convince them is I take that support thing that's holding the screen of yellow sodium and I move it out of the way of the flames. So I still have the flames, but the sodium is gone. As soon as that sodium is gone, I see a continuous spectrum. That black line disappears and it fills in with yellow. So that's a way to convince them that that absorption is because that light, that white light, is going through a relatively cool gas and absorbing that yellow light from the white light. And what comes out is everything else that's not absorbed. Then you put the flames or the salt back in, and a few seconds later, it takes a few seconds later for that gas to be created, and that black line reappears. Okay, so what did we do? We did a continuous spectrum. We put some sodium vapor in the way. It absorbed that yellow light. We saw that black light disappear. Then the next thing to do is you take your slide projector and you turn it into the fan setting only. Why? Because you don't want to thermally shock the bulb, but it turns off the lamp. So the fan's going, it cools the lamp without shocking it. But my white light source is gone, so I lost my continuous spectrum. But these flames are still emitting yellow light. And so I see on the screen a yellow line. That's that sodium yellow line, and it's in the same place where the black line appeared before when it was absorbing the light. So that, and all of this takes maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes, something like that. But you can get all of that physics in that little time. And that, how can you argue with that? There's nothing to argue with, right? They see it. And you can turn that into a clicker question. Maybe this is a half-hour demonstration, right? Because you're doing clicker questions all along the way. You can do that as well. So, and that's all I have on my slide deck. So I'm going to close my slide deck and stop sharing. And then it's time to do some physics demos. See, how do I stop sharing? Did it come? Share? No. Stop. There it is. Stop share. There we go. Man, you think I didn't live through COVID the way I'm trying to figure out how to work Zoom today. Okay. So I have a, what is it? 4:15. We're going till 5. How about, let me share another screen. Sorry. I'm gonna pull this back over here. There we go. Come to Zoom. Let me share this screen. Here we go. Kind of here are all the demos that I was planning on doing. This was my list. which then the theme of this workshop got, ruffled a little bit and we went to different direction. But of these demos that I could set up pretty quickly, most of them, is there anything on here that you really want to see and discuss?
Can you increase the font there? Or increase the view, maybe with the bottom slider?
See,
A little hard to read.
Is that large enough now, or do you want it bigger? How's that?
Oh, that's good right there.
Better.
Let's get rid
Well-
of the gray. Tell me when to scroll to the next page also.
There was one that we talked about in our meeting either yesterday or the day before, and it's one that I don't think any of us had heard of. I'm just going to suggest it, and that was the one called the Quinks tube. Quink. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah,
Um,
okay. Yeah, you've all seen this. Maybe you just don't know it's called Quink's tube. I'll explain it real quick. And then if you want to see it, we'll do it. So it's in the Pyra, and I don't like this listing for it. It's called trombone. Okay, that's what it's called. I have a tube with a speaker in it. The sound comes up and takes a path this way. Oh, and I'm talking with my hands, and you can't see me. So let's do front camera to here. Okay. Can you see me now?
Yes.
I have a tube with a speaker. The speaker is pointing in this direction, comes up. It meets a T right here. The sound can take a path this way or a path this way. Those paths meet and recombine and come out over here. I could change the path length on one side, making it longer compared to this side. And so what you hear are interference. You hear an interference pattern as you gradually change the length of this. So it's set up where you have a loud tone, ooh, and it's the same tone. As I change this length, when this is a half a wavelength different from this path, then I get a minimum in the interference pattern, and I hear a decrease in the sound intensity. So as I pull this out, you hear ooh, 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 as I'm moving that up. So that's Quinks tube. And it's built with cheap materials. It's PVC pipes that you get at Home Depot. So if you want to see that, we'll do that. So let me, am I still sharing my screen, by the way?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Quinks tube. So is this still, is this a keeper or no?
still your slide.
Yes, we want to see it.
Yep, okay. So I'll go get, during our break, I'll go get that and we'll set that up. Okay. So coming back to the top again. Tell me when you're ready to move on, or if there's anything on here that needs highlighting because you want to see it.
I'm fine moving.
Are there some things you've already got out already that would be much faster to set up than the others?
Most of this stuff is out already. I tell you, this one right here would be time consuming, not time consuming, but I say we skip circular motion. That's what I think That's one thing I suggest. And the other one that I cannot do, because I didn't bring it down, I can tell you this different, story later. I don't have this one, but we can certainly discuss it, how to do it. So I know many people have tried to do this and they fail. So if that's of interest, we can talk about that, how to do it.
There was a request for the fire extinguisher car.
So we can do that. That's an easy one. Well, let me highlight that one.
How about the charge propelled can?
That's an easy one to do.
What, short a capacitor?
That's a fun one. Actually, this one, I want to do this one. Sad thing is I made it yesterday and now I don't remember where I put it. So I can find it fast. I think I remember where I put it.
Shall we just proceed with some of these demos since time is ticking?
Give me 5 minutes. I need to run away for 5 and track down some of this stuff. So why don't you all take a bio break, as people like to say, and I'll be back in 5 and we'll buzz through these demos and have a good rest of the workshop. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about what you're seeing now. So as described, over here is a speaker. I can hook that up to a sound generator. Sound comes in and can take this lower path and it can take this higher path, recombine here and come out this horn. So that's a Quincks tube. So here's the clicker question for you. As I change the length of one tube, I already gave you the answer, but you would ask your students, you're going to hear the sound get lower in pitch. You could come up with answers. I'm just making these up on the fly right now. You will hear alternating, loud, and quiet tones. And you can think of probably more creative ones that I'm going to think of in this moment. So what I have is a Pascal function generator. I'm hooking that into here. Buried in here is a speaker pointing that way. So if I turn this on and give it some sound, not stand by, there we go. I'm gonna go up to like 1200 hertz. Okay, can you all hear that annoying sound?
No.
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 No, Zoom is filtering it because it thinks it's a background noise.
Oh, no.
Mercy.
How's this? Any better?
No.
No. Oh, boo.
Now,
Okay.
Zoom did recently enable in the audio settings, there's an option where you can choose original sound for musicians, and then it shouldn't do filtering anymore, I think.
I'm trying to find that setting.
Audio. What is that setting?
Sam
called?
might need to do it on his end.
Automatically adjust noise suppression, original sound for musicians. I'm gonna
Yes,
take,
try original sound for musicians and see if that does anything.
I turned off echo cancellation as well. Okay. So let's see if you can hear this now. Do you hear that now?
No.
Nope.
No.
No.
Okay, I got nothing then, if that didn't do it. So I'm in my audio settings and original sound, I've got original sound for musicians checked, correct? Oh, it's driving my dog nuts. Can you hear it? Zoom background noise removal, that is unchecked. Let's try high fidelity music mode. Do you hear an annoying high pitch now?
No.
Okay, well, I just turned it off because it was driving me nuts.
Y'all can come
Okay,
help
here's
me.
the demo. You can see how it's built, right? Function generator comes into a speaker, sound. And then here's the business end. This is built so that this path length is the same, but I can change this path length by extending this, and now my Zoom screen's covered, so now I can't see what you're seeing. Yeah, my Zoom screen is covered with the audio settings, and I see that I need to pan the camera up a little bit. Oh, no, that's not bad. Okay. Let me
It's a
zoom.
giant trombone.
Yeah.
And that's the mistake. What happens when I change the trombone length? If I change the length of a trombone, like a real trombone musical instrument, what happens to the pitch?
Right, it changes.
Right,
So
the pitch changes. It either goes up or down,
Yeah.
depending on what I do with my slide, and also what the musician does with the embouchure, right?
Yeah.
So, but here, the pitch is controlled by this thing. And I'm sending out a continuous 1200 hertz pitch, which doesn't change. And as long as these path lengths are the same, I get a very loud 1200 hertz pitch out here. But if I elongate this so that I moved this, and this is now a half a wavelength longer than this, then these two waves meeting here will destructively interfere, and that tone almost disappears. And so you hear an alternating series of, right now, the tone disappeared, of very quiet, gets louder, very loud, it's getting dimmer, it's almost gone. And that happens in regular intervals. And what I did on this is, see if it's still here, I'm gonna unplug this right now. But what I did on this side right here was I marked where the minima are for two different frequencies, 1.5 kilohertz and 0.75 kilohertz. And so here's the first red minimum right here when I start closed. But here's the, can you see those? Oh, you can't even see those marks, can you? But here's a mark, here's a mark, here's a mark, here's a mark. Those are the 1.5 kilohertz. Here's a mark, here's a mark. So you can see the spacing is very different for the 1.5 kilohertz compared to the 75, the 3/4 of a kilohertz. And you can see my glue job up here came undone. But this is a very simple demo to make. And it's made with very cheap materials. You could make this in a couple hours, not even. And I do have plans for this. If you want plans, yell, let me know. So are there any questions on the Quinks tube and what it does and how it does? what it's supposed to do? No? Okay, so we're good on that. So let's do the rocket car then. Daph, you're gonna have to get out of the way on this one, girl. Okay, so here's my rocket car. I bought this way back when Toys R Us was in existence. It's a Kettler car made in Germany. It's, you know, it's just a kid's car. I'm going to change the camera angle so you can see that. Camera controls and go down. Okay, so there's the Kettler car. So what did I do? I built a little rack back here, just out of some metal. It's called a handy angle, but we have like an ample supply of it here. And I attached that to the car. Back here is a fire extinguisher that is also firmly attached to the car. Let me turn this around so you can see that better. Okay, so here is that metal rack I'm talking about. Yeah, good girl. Okay, what's that metal rack? Here's a contraption to hold the fire extinguisher in place.
Hey, hey,
You got somebody, you have a friend online. This thing right here, this right here is a steel cable. And that comes up and it's attached to the handle. And I just attach it with some zip ties right here. Where does this cable go? Well, this cable routes underneath the car. It comes all the way up to here. This is the gas pedal. So the cable is attached here. And when I push the gas pedal, it pulls on the cable and it pulls the handle down. So that's how I squeeze that. I can just do it with my foot. I don't have to reach around and do my hand. The other thing that you see over here is the brake. And that works with this pedal right here. And that too is attached with a cable. And it's just a bicycle brake. I went and bought a disc brake from the bike shop. And it came with all the cable and the cable housing, blah, blah, blah. So I hooked that up and that's bolted on here. And when I do this demo, I start from way in there. I'm hidden behind some curtains and nobody knows I'm in it. And when it's time, I come bolting out on this thing and it's loud and makes a loud noise and there's smoke because it's CO2 coming out and it's cooling and blah, blah, blah. And I get going so fast that when I hit the brake, I probably leave a 5, 6, 7 foot long skid mark on the floor because I'm going that fast in just this short of distance. So I didn't bring a brand new full fire extinguisher. I'll talk about this in a second. These things are charged up to about 1,800 pounds per square inch with CO2. I send them out to the local fire extinguisher refill place to get those refilled. It's about $20 to refill a can, to refill this size. Interesting thing about fire extinguishers is if you were to unscrew the hose and look at this, this actually has a round cap over the side with holes on opposite sides of it. So when the gas comes out, some gas goes that way and some gas goes that way, and none of it goes that way. So what's the momentum of all that gas add up to? It adds up to 0. And so I feel nothing on that intact fire extinguisher. So what you have to do is cut that little thing off so that all the gas goes that way. And remember, it's 1,800 pounds per square inch. That gas goes that way very, very, very fast. So if I give the gas a lot of momentum that way, then I have to have the same momentum in that direction. And that's your rocket, right? So it's not a difficult build to do, and it's not very expensive. Go to a garage sale. I bet you can find a car like this. So I'm going to see what's left in the cylinder because I did this in lecture the other day. And so we'll see what's left in here and see if I get going anywhere. The last thing I want to mention, safety instructions. This is really loud. So I wear hearing protection. I left it upstairs, but it's also not full, so it's not going to be really loud. So I'm not going to worry about hearing protection today. So I'm gonna hop in and we'll see if I get any thrust out of this thing at all, or if it's just an empty can. So let's go. Here we go. Whoop. Scary, huh? Well, did you hear the? Y'all heard that, right? Oh, you didn't hear that either? So the the can is now empty. I thought that there was still half a charge in here, and that would have gotten me about 4 or 5 feet, and you would have seen it go. So Tom, when we practiced this the other day and we did cameras and stuff like that, we should have done audio practice as well, because you're not hearing any of the sounds that you need to hear. So keep in mind for future Zoom meetings that audio needs to be figured out as well. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were gonna say something. Okay, so let's if there are any questions, yell, let me know. So let's get this out of the way. And let's talk about charge propelled can. And I want to do a little bit of introduction on this. So here's how I'm going to do the charge propelled can. When you're doing electrostatics, you usually use glass and silk and rubber and wool, right? Those are your materials of choice, right? That's what you buy from Hasco, and if you have old Senko stuff, that's what they used to supply. And in my experience, actually, Pyra, we've all adopted these materials now. Those tend not to work great, especially when it's really humid. And so what we've adopted is using a different set of materials. So here's the rod that I made. This is gray PVC. And this is clear acrylic. The other name for this is plexiglass. Okay. Don't be confused with polycarbonate, which is the same as Lexan. Those are the same. It's different from this. This is plexiglass. What's cool about these materials is because you don't need anything exotic to charge them up. White paper towel, any paper towel, actually brown paper towel works better, I think. But I just grabbed white. And just rubbing this with white paper towel charges this negative. And you can't see it, but I can certainly feel the hair on my arms standing up. So brown paper towel or white, the paper towels charges the gray negative. If I charge the other end, the clear, and I can feel the hair on my arm standing up with this. This gets charged opposite this. So this is negative, this gets charged positive. And you can do all your standard electroscope / pith ball, et cetera, demonstrations with this and show that this charge is opposite this charge. You can do charging by conduction, induction, et cetera. And then the charge propelled can is, well, here's a neutral conductor. And let's see if I get my sight line right. It's rolling that way. Let's see if I can bring it back. And I can bring it back because this rod is charged. Oh, so if I charge this end instead, oh, it didn't repel that can. It still attracted it. There's a clicker question, right? The clicker question goes like this. The clear end attracts the queuing. Wow, that was good. What does the gray end do? Well, they already saw that a positively charged pith ball is attracted to a gray one. So if, I don't remember what I used. If something's attracted, then the other one should repel it, right? Okay, so what did I do? I just attracted it with the gray. I think, I don't know. So then the opposite then, if it was attracted to the gray, then it should be repelled by the clear. Clicker question, repelled, attracted, blah, blah, blah. No, you can't tell, who knows? Whatever your choices are, but both are attracted, or both of these pieces attract the can. Now, let's talk about one more thing. If I'm trying to charge an object with this device, here's the mistake I see so many faculty members do, and it's even worse when you get those little pointy rubber rods from Senko, is they'll charge that rubber rod with a little point, and now if they want to charge this can, they'll touch the point on the can. And they think that it dumps a lot of charge onto the can. But it doesn't. Remember, this is an insulator, and the charges don't run around. They stay put where you put them. And so if I charge this thing, and if I don't even charge the point of this, you know, the rubber rod, and right, we're doing the rubber. If I touch that point there, I don't even put any charge on that can. So what you have to do to get the charge off of this thing, if I want to charge something, is touch a large surface area of this thing where it has been charged. So I'm rotating this a little bit and I'm dragging that along. I rotate it and I drag along. I rotate it and I drag along. Now I would claim that can is charged if it was sitting on an insulating surface. Yeah, I did. So the charge just leaked off onto this table. But that's how you go about charging something. You don't just go tap it, because the contact area here doesn't contain much charge. Okay, so just a tip for when you're doing these electrostatics demos. So that was the charge propelled can. What else did we have? Queen's tube, this. I didn't run up to my office. I know where I left the Radian. It's in my office. Oh, let me describe the Radian. How many of your students say, oh, Radian, and they have a perfectly clear understanding of what a Radian is? Put your hand up if that describes your students. Yeah, Chris is laughing because nobody knows what a radian is. So here's how I teach my students what a radian is. I get 3 rulers, plastic rulers. You know, they're 30 centimeters long, right? And I take them together and they make a perfect, what geometric shape? Come on, somebody yell it out.
Circle?
No, they're taking 3 plastic rulers taped.
Triangle.
Make a perfect equilateral triangle, right? They're all the same length. So what's the angle? What are each of those angles? They're all 60 degrees. It's sad, but some of my students now have no clue that the interior angles of that triangle are 60 degrees, right? Scary. That's what we have now. Okay, but now I have this 3-sided equilateral triangle. Here's my triangle. Boom, 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 boom. If I put
We
my
can't
finger,
see you.
you can't say, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Better? If
Yes.
I put my finger, here's my triangle, right? Here's my triangle. So if I put my finger in the center of this ruler up here and let this go, this bends into an arc. It's an arc length of a circle, correct? And this angle collapses from 60 degrees to a little bit. So now I have this thing where this length is the same as this length, and we know it's the same as this arc length. We saw this angle shrink from 60 degrees to a little smaller, and that is 1 radian right there. So when the arc length of a circle is equal to the radius, then that angle is 1 radian. And then it's easy to say, oh, look, boom, 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 boom. It's a little more than 6 of these to go around the circle, right? So that's how I teach them what a radian is.
Nice.
So, anyways, and it's simple, it's cheap, it's quick. Hey there, Georgia. Oh, we're doing a demo workshop with AAPT. So, so what else is on our list? I lost my list. Close.
And I think we have time for one more.
Okay, I want to do one more. Let's do a fun carnival ride, because this is a great clicker question. So, let's do the camera. Camera controls. Let's go there. We can zoom in here. Okay, so here's a carnival ride. What I didn't bring are the C clamp or the clamps that hold this firmly on. So I'm just going to hope that this doesn't go flying off. Y'all recognize this. This is that Senko rotating platform. Well, this is just a piece of wood with a plexiglass cylinder. And I can spin that together, and good, it doesn't go flying off. While that's spinning, I can take this rubber eraser, and if I'm good, I can plant it on the side wall of this, and this thing will stick on the wall. Let's see if I can do this real. Oh, maybe it wasn't spinning fast enough. Okay, so that's spinning. So now I'm going to grab it and pull it up. Here's our clicker question. First of all, that could have been a clicker question. It's spinning fast. I put it on the side wall. What happens to the eraser? It falls straight down. It stays stuck to the wall, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's the real question. Describe what happens to the eraser as this begins to slow down. Here are my choices. The eraser stays pinned to the side the whole time. The eraser gradually falls down as this thing slows down. The eraser suddenly falls down, and come up with some other answers. So I'll give you, that's the question. That's my clicker question. So I'll give you 20 seconds to think about that. Oh, don't let her out. Daph, come here, girl. Okay, 3, 2, 1, vote. I don't even remember what the letters were. Who wants to venture a guess, an explanation, a suggestion? Come on, somebody put yourself out there. I'll just call on Dan McIsaac. Dan, talk to us.
I'm listening, honest. You're gonna slow it down. It's being held by static friction. Static friction is greater than kinetic friction, so it'll drop suddenly.
I'm going with it'll slowly drop.
Like gradually drop down?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do the demo and we'll find out. And then this would be a great time to do the, convince your neighbor that you are right. Okay, so you can see that eraser at the top, right? And we're just going to let it slow down on its own. What did it do? Did it gradually slow down as that thing was slowing down, or did it get to a certain point and then it just slid right down the container?
Slid right down the container.
Yeah.
It just slid right down the container. And then using what you know about kinetic friction and static friction, you should be able to convince yourself why it did what it did. Make sense? So, okay. Questions, comments, concerns, criticisms? Questions on anything. You've got that entire list of demos. Plus anything in the bib. Oh, I've been trying to do this. I can't get it to work. Any suggestions? Or materials to do this? Or how do you do that? Or
The giant tuba, where did you come up with the tuba end?
oh, so that is, so I play saxophone and I'm good friends with the local musical instrument repair guy. And I was in his shop and he had that spare French horn bell sitting around. It was from a busted French horn. And I said, oh, can I have that French horn bell? And he gave it to me. So I brought it here. I also have up in storage a sousaphone bell that I took because I'll use it for something someday. I haven't figured out, so that's what that is. It's a French doorbell.
Nice. Hey,
You could probably
Tom,
use a megaphone.
Yeah, tear apart a megaphone, you can get a bell. It's not important, I don't think, but I think it certainly makes the demo look a lot cooler.
Yeah.
So,
Sam, I'm gonna put up the evaluation for people to fill out.
okay,
So while you're thinking of questions, you can keep on talking, but please take the time to fill out this participant feedback on this workshop. But if you have questions for Sam, keep asking.
Sam, where would I get a plexiglass tube for the charging apparatus?
this tube on this thing right here.
Yes, the plexiglass part.
Yeah, so a lot of the materials I buy come from McMaster Car. Maybe it's not the cheapest place, but it's like the one-stop shopping for anything you want. And so I bought these tubes from McMaster Car. You order them. If I ordered them on Wednesday, I would have gotten them here in Syracuse on Thursday. So McMaster Car, it's acrylic, and I have the machine shop cut these and face these off. And what you can't see is they had to turn down the outside of this so I could get a nice snug fit inside so it stays put together. So the other thing I have is a hole in the middle right here. So if I want to suspend this from a string, I can do that as well and it stays balanced. So yeah, acrylic, gray PVC. Replace all of your glass and all of your hard rubber and all of your silks and wools with these materials, and your electrostatics will almost never fail you.
So it's acrylic instead of plexiglass.
Acrylic and plexiglass are the same material. So one is a trade.
Okay.
One plexiglass is the trade name, and acrylic is the not commercialized name. Likewise, Lexan and polycarbonate, they are the same thing. Lexan is the trade name, polycarbonate is the general name. So let's do another fun circular motion one since it's here. So over here I've got a bucket of water, and I'm just going to pour that water into this coffee cup, right? So it's just water going into the coffee cup. And oh, it's over here. So we want to show circular motion. So I have this tray painted gold, but it's not gold. It's kind of rough wood, and it's important that it's a little rough. Here, let's hold it up. There we go. It's important that this surface is rough. Because what I'm going to do is spin this around, and you see that when I come back and fix the camera. Zoom out. And we can pan down a little bit. Okay, we'll pan up, zoom out. There we go. Okay. And try not to hit the dog. And when you do this demo, you also need to make sure you have clear lines all around you. Don't hit the dog. Daff, watch out. So this thing, this cup of water doesn't fall off. There we go. And it's, okay, very good. So I can spin this overhead and that doesn't fall off. This thing's called a Greek waiter. And there was a restaurant in Syracuse that's now gone. But they used to train waiters and waitresses, and they all had one of these, and they ran to all the tables. So they had these things, and they ran to the tables with everybody's dinner and drinks and stuff like that. And it never falls off of this thing. It's so good that if I had the room, and I don't because stuff is going, I have this thing here, blah, blah, blah. But you can actually spin this in a horizontal circle. and it doesn't fall off. Again, I suggest practicing before you do this live in your classroom, but it's cheap, simple to build, and it's pretty cool. And just to prove that I didn't do anything funny, that it is water. Notice I used the cup and not the smooth bottom piece of plastic. So, okay, another fun one to do. Okay.
Hey, thank you so much, Sam. I'm going to stop the recording now.
That was a lot of fun. I hope you had fun.